I got the high sign from above, right over here. The cameras are rolling, as they say. So at this time, we will call this regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Lathrup Village to order. And I would ask the clerk to call the roll.
Roll call, Mayor Brock.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett.
Here.
Councilmember Ferguson.
Here.
Councilmember Manarino Thompson.
Here.
Councilmember Stallings.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome.
This time we invite all of you in the audience to join with us and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. The council members, you have received and had a chance to review the agenda. Are there any suggested additions or deletions from the agenda? Hearing none, could we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. We have on our agenda first of all is the minutes of the various meetings that have been held that we need to review and approve. First are the minutes of the study session that was held on Monday, April 18th at 6 p.m. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes of the study session?
None here.
None.
Hearing none, could we have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion. Second.
So moved and seconded. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Next, the minutes of the regular meeting of the City Council, which was held on that same evening, April 18th. And ask again, are there any additions or corrections to these minutes?
None here.
None.
None.
Do we have a motion for their approval?
I'll make a motion. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of April 18th, 2000, whatever it was. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. And then we have a study meeting that I think we have, don't we? Have I not gotten to that one yet? I have.
Yes, we have a special.
Special meeting.
Minutes of May 2nd is next, which was a special meeting of the City Council to deal with certain labor issues. So are there any additions or corrections to the minutes of the meeting of May 2nd, 2016?
I don't have any.
None.
Nothing.
We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of a special meeting of May 2nd. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Next is, for our consideration, is the disbursement reports, I should say. First is for the period of April 1st, 2016 through April 15th, and amounts totaling $55,287.46. The next one, was for the period of April 16th through April 30th of 2016, and amounts totaling $202,661.04. Were there any comments or questions that members of council have about the various detail backup behind those reports?
Well, what we talked about in the study session was about pay tech and the fact that it was coming under different departments, but that's going to be part of the proposal that we're going to be going out for bid for? Okay. That's all for me.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the disbursement reports then?
So moved.
Second.
So moved and seconded. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. The disbursement reports are accepted. Next is the time on agenda where we invite those in the audience who wish to discuss issues that are not listed on the agenda. This is your opportunity to come forward, and we'd ask you to identify yourself by name and address for the record. I've been made aware of a couple people that want to speak to begin with. I'm going to call on Mary Lee. She's limped in here, and her foot is giving her pain, so I promised I'd get her on first so she can...
Don't drop a Pyrex dish on your foot. Just get the memo now. So anyway, Marilee Roseman, Recreation Coordinator, 18160 Sunnybrook, Lathrup Village. Just want to remind everybody that our 6th year of the farm market starts day after tomorrow, which is May 18th. Many of you may realize we are starting earlier. We are also going through December 14th. This year, we have extended into the winter hours, and that was by vote of our vendors. Our vendors actually wanted to start earlier because of flowers and herbs and plants and so on and so forth, and they actually wanted to go into the December time frame because they still have a lot of produce and they have a lot of baked goods and breads, and our holiday market has been going over very, very well. So we will be moving into the community room. So starting May 18th, farm market goes from 2 to 7. We'll stay outside under the tents in the parking lot with a grand new total of approximately 34 vendors this year, when we started out with 5 in 2010. We have expanded, so we're taking up the entire parking lot from Southfield almost to I call it the back 40. So we'll be outside May 18th through October 12th. We will then be moving inside to the community room from October 12th through December 14th. Again, hours are 2 to 7. I will say that I am very proud of not only all of our vendors, but our volunteers. We are one of the only markets in Southeast Oakland County that accepts all types of food assistance. So we take the bridge card. We participate in double up food bucks, which very few people do. We also participate in Senior Market Fresh, where we have education components going on for seniors, and they can come and get their booklet of $20 to use on fresh produce. We participate in WIC. We have a great working relationship with Smart Transportation, where they are going to some senior low-rise, high-rises, and they are bringing the seniors here to us every other month. We have a great working relationship with Blue Care Network, that they're going to be sponsoring an entire kids program, which is phenomenal. It's free to the kids, and after an 8-week period, when they get their little passports, which I hope to come back and talk to you about, they have a chance to win one of 4 $200 gift certificates at D&D Bicycle. And then the last one is Dr. Corey Fortson, who is Fortson Family Dentistry, is teaming up with the market and Oakland County, and we're doing a program called Be Fit, which is it's a physical kind of tracking for kids. I believe it's 5 to 8 and 9 to 12, and it's an 8-week program where they're going to be tested on balance and strength and stamina all through fun and games. They're not going to realize that they're tracking them, but they're going to be encouraging them to better themselves, to make themselves better. It's not a competition against me and Colin or Pam and myself. It's all about the kids, much like swimming, trying to get your personal best, okay, to see that growth. And Dr. Fortson is sponsoring that as well. So all the kids will get T-shirts, and they're going to get insulated lunch boxes, and learn all good things about nutrition and then good health. And that's a free program as well. That one is limited to the first 75 children in each age group. Southfield Schools are behind this, the youth, Southfield Youth, Southfield Christian. I have some other schools that are involved, so it's going to be a really great program. I'm very, very pleased to see all these different entities calling to want to be a part of the market. St. Mary's Hospital of Livonia just called, and so did AT&T. So I'm very proud of the volunteers and the vendors that have really expanded this entire event. So I thank you very much. Shop the market.
Market Master Marilee. Yes.
Marilee, did you misspeak or did I mishear? You said SMART was coming every other month?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, starting in June, every other week, they're going to be doing 8 runs, and they would like to expand it if they could. They're doing this as a service to us, which is really nice because it's free of charge to these seniors. Primarily in the Russian compound, which has a high use of seniors that really need to get out and get fresh fruits. And we are expanding to, I've had, Frank and I met with Mayor Siver of Southfield to get them on board with their TOS program. We're also trying to reach out to Oak Park and Royal Oak because there's a huge number of senior high-rises, low income, that we know have the bridge card that Royal Oak does not participate in. So we're really trying to work very hard with those communities to get them to use their SMART credits, even if it's once a month, to get those seniors to come here to be able to participate in these programs, which is huge, huge.
How does a senior contact? Do they just call City Hall if they want that transportation from SMART?
They don't call City Hall. We don't have this. It's a senior
SMART.
high-rise. I don't know.
Okay.
They're not going to go
Only-
to individual homes.
Got it. So-
They can. The TOS program can do that through
Okay.
Southfield, absolutely. And there's a TOS number, and I don't know what that is off the top of my head,
Okay.
but I can see if I can find that.
Okay.
But yeah, we're very, very pleased. And the Double Up program, I'd really like to at least, if members of council don't know what that is, I'd like to do a presentation on that because that is absolutely a phenomenal program for those that are on the bridge card, young and old. There's a lot of women that lost their jobs, single parents, that were absolutely thrilled to know that we had the bridge card. And with Double Up, we can actually match their monies up to $20 per day. So if they swipe their card for 20, we can give them 20. It's a nice federal program that we qualify for. So, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Marilee. Any other quick questions for Marilee before she makes a run down the hall? Or hobbles down the hall?
Bully can always come. All of our veterans from last year are coming back. We have 8 new vendors, and I have a waiting list.
That's
So
good.
it's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome.
That's good.
Please let everybody know that we're inside too come November, because I know Lathrup and shoppers are a creature of habit. Just because you don't see the tents out there in October doesn't mean we're not here.
Maybe a parade of just in the door or something.
Hey, good job at
Thank you.
getting this organized. We
Thank you,
appreciate
thank
it.
you, thank you.
Definitely. See you later.
Other folks who might wish to address council.
Good evening. I'm Debbie Hoatland Dunn, and
Is
I
this a
live...
duet?
It is a duet. We duet almost everything in Lathrop Village. I'm Debbie Hoatland Dunn, and I live at 27440 Lathrop Boulevard. And I'm here this evening on behalf of the Children's Garden.
And I'm Karen Breen. I live at 27460 Lathrop Boulevard, and here on behalf of the Children's Garden as well.
We brought tonight just
May I pass out to you?
Sure.
just a little proposal. It came to our attention that sometimes the city gives out money to programs in the city. And as a part of the Children's Garden, every year we have specific things that we would like to add to the Children's Garden. And so we have just put together what some of those big items are for this year. We have a few pictures of what some of those things are. We are constantly making changes to the Children's Garden that will enhance children's learning and adult learning together in the Children's Garden. And so that's what we have for you tonight.
To explain a couple of the items that are on here that you might not be familiar with, the Root View planter, there's a picture of that on your second page there. It's going to be approximately 4 feet by 3 feet high, and the children will be able to watch root vegetables grow. They'll be able to actually see the roots, and especially root vegetables like carrots or turnips or radishes, and watch them actually grow. Instead of just, we have them pick them out of the ground when they're ready to harvest, but now we can actually have them see them grow. The message board is, I only have a couple of pictures of that, but that's a pretty standard board that we want to place up there to inform people in the children's who come through the garden what our activities are, what the events are, any special events we have coming up, the calendar. We're always up there working, and people will stop by and say, well, what's going on? What are you doing? What is this? And so we'd like to be able to have this message board up there informing them of the activities throughout the season.
The message board is also something that has been at the Children's Garden for many years, but with age and being outdoors, it has rotted and it's lived its time. So with both of these, our plan is to use composite material so that it will last much longer in the Children's Garden.
The boulders for the maze, that's on the third page of your presentation there. It's an idea that we have stolen from some other garden in the world. But we call it the Northern Garden, the garden where the living roof is located. We have a big area there that we've been not necessarily wanting to fill with plants because the soil there is not the best. So we've been trying to put activities up there. We've had the hopscotch, and we've got the butterfly garden, and we have the fairy garden over in the other corner. Well, we have enough boulders in our garden to start this, but we don't have enough to finish it. And what we want to place at the center of the maze is a large fairy garden planter that will be up on a pedestal that the children can view and see and
It would be the
play
little
with.
surprise at the end of the maze.
Good.
Interesting.
All right. Anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.
But I will say that in our discussion earlier, we were commenting on how well you guys have the children's garden has progressed, and
Oh, thank you.
very nice, yeah.
I trust some of you have been in the restaurant down the street, the
Applebee's.
Applebee's, thank you. I have to be prompted. I've reached that age now where words flit right out of my mind. But anyway, they got a couple of great pictures of your children's garden
They do.
They do?
in
Yeah.
their
Not noticed it.
dining area. And
Guys
it's,
got a
They
reputation.
have a number of very good, very nice representative photos of Lathrup Village, but the children's
that's
garden is
wonderful.
particularly prominent.
It always pleases
the
us when we're
restaurant.
up here and we see wedding parties
Yes.
Yeah.
getting their photos taken in the garden or thereabouts. So.
Yeah. Just
So-
one,
Yes, Ian.
one question. You guys have a mulch day coming up, right?
Yes, this
I want
Saturday.
to advertise that.
Yes, please. Anybody who has nothing to do on Saturday morning, we have 15 yards of mulch coming that we're going to be
Oh, I
placing in
thought
the
you
garden.
meant you were going to come to various people's houses and put it down.
That's afterwards. That's on Sunday. Yeah.
And it's a part of Time Bank as well, so
Yes.
there will be a
Yeah.
potluck after.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
great.
Good job.
Potluck.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a couple of quick points I might make is that you alluded to the fact that the city has been funding some things. Well, the Children's Garden, one nice thing about the Children's Garden always was your own fundraising events that you did over the years.
Yes.
And you've done a beautiful job in raising money and using it to develop the Children's Garden. So we're very conscious of the efforts you put in. I think this is probably a application you're wanting to submit to the Community Foundation.
We have used the Community Foundation before. Without their help, we would not have been able to put
true.
the flower windmills up.
Yes, I remember that request, yes. Well, those windmills are very colorful.
They are, yeah.
And people keep trying to lure me to walk through there while they're spinning. It hasn't worked yet.
It's safe.
It's- All right.
Just to quickly address your issue of our fundraising efforts, we do have many.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
pretty soon there'll be a voice from above that you'll hear that'll say, "Go to the
Voice of
podium."
God. We do have fundraising events, and we listed them on the proposal that we sent, that we handed out to you. Those events barely manage to cover the cost of our programs that we provide for the community and the events that we produce. And we do have money in our bank account for the first time ever at this time, which is a wonderful feeling.
That's great.
But we feel that if we can get some additional funding for some other groups, the Lions, the Community Foundation have helped out, individual board members have helped out considerably, that we'll be able to continue to bring these large enhancements to the garden and also build up our funding so that we can
Yeah.
sponsor these programs.
Pam, she has a bank account,
Yeah,
or the group has a bank account.
I was about to say, never say.
You may want to go online and say, oh, never mind, we'll worry about that later. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else that wishes to address council on any issue? I think there are a couple of people here that represent the
Does someone else want to go first, Mike?
preserve.
You want to? Okay.
Hi, good evening. Bruce Copus, 28050 Woodworth Way, Lathrup Village. Good evening, Council, Mayor Pro Tem. We've been discussing the city preserve over the last couple of weeks, and you've made some requests, so we're here tonight to hopefully fulfill some of your interest. But I want to start out by simply indicating that I'm strongly recommending that that the city rezones this 3.94 acres from cluster housing to PS. I think as a council you have to finally be committed to this parcel of land to become a park. As it stands right now under cluster housing, it's a people can look at it as a tentative situation. And there has been discussion in the past as far as moving the land actually for sale, and I just think that would be a huge mistake. The second goal of the Park and Recs plan states that it is to provide new recreational facilities for public use. Well, we just simply don't have much land available in the city. And to accomplish any sort of expansion of the city park system, this has to be considered for that purpose. Cluster housing we don't particularly need. Parks we do. And I think with the commitment that this group has shown over the last 4 years, it is truly something that can be looked upon. The Children's Garden's a prime example of the city giving some land to a group of residents and watching them just turn something that was grass into something that's beautiful and functional and usable. And that's what I foresee for this preserve. It's something that future residents of Lathrup Village will be able to use, enjoy, partake in. But it's truly up to your control. And the destiny of this park lies within you, because until it's rezoned, until we can call it park land, and we can amend our rec plan to include this, then we can go forward and seek funds from both the state and federal if we can do something. But it has to be rezoned. It has to be included within our park system. And then we can move forward. It's such a prime area. It's the parkland we have now has always been considered insufficient, and we simply just don't have any other places to find this type of property. We have it, we control it. I think it's time to simply designate it for what it should be, and that's under the PS, and I strongly encourage you to look at that in the future.
PS zoning is what? Public, that's public service, is it?
Yeah, it's public service.
Is it public
Yeah.
service zoning?
Yeah. Under clear zoning, they changed it to PS.
That's why I was trying to remember what it was. Thank you.
So cluster housing to PS?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that
That
what's
whole
zoned
circle,
now?
that
or
whole
is it-
circle is cluster housing.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Next.
Well, you kind of beat me to the punch, Bruce.
They just reinforce it.
Colin, I did bring the model, if you wanted to bring it in. Did you notice it when you came in?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. And I also want to give these packets to you.
Thank you. I appreciate
I
it.
don't know if any of you have
You need one?
seen this.
Throwing them at me.
some of our brochures and stuff, but just kind of to get us all on the same page again. I am Sandy Johnson at 27821 Rackham Drive, and I head up the Friends of the Village Preserve. So a lot has gone on recently, and I have composed something I wanted to share. Given the recent upheaval and distress created by 2 letters from our Lathrup Village City Administrator, I thought it would be helpful to attend this meeting to provide an overview and chronology of the Friends' efforts, our plans for the season, and some of our financial support needs. Reminder, here's our timeline. In June 2009, the House of the Woods burned down. The city purchased this. I think it was for $1 or something, very, very minimal. But the city, of course, then had to pay all the back taxes. 11,
And to
2010.
clear the property and to get rid of the building.
Oh, you're jumping on me too? 2010 is when the city did demolish the building and paid for that and cleared the property, hauled everything away. The land was filled in. Okay. To 2011, I went around and stuffed the mailboxes of the residents right around the preserve and asking them if they would like the land to be used for a nature preserve. They all said yes, and I have all those forms which I had presented before to the council and the planning commission. But I still have them if you want them. 2011, Save the Land Committee was formed, and we began meeting as much as we could to try to get community support for the idea. And we contacted many, many groups and experts within the natural community. 9/11, Mara Lipkowitz and myself presented our first proposal for the Village Preserve. Again in 9/11, Kirsty Hart-Negridge and myself presented, I guess this one was at the City Council. Mindful of the educational component that we wanted to have with this project, in November 2011, we offered a presentation on buckthorn, invasive species, and this was offered by an ecologist, environmental scientist, John DeLio. In your packets, you'll see that green packet on the front that was given to everyone who showed up. The people around the preserve, even though I gave them each special invitations in their mailboxes, not a one showed up. Okay, January 2012, from the Save the Land, Friends of the Village Preserve became a city group. We had a whole proposal for the Village Preserve in February 2012. There was a public hearing with the City Planning Commission. The commission agreed that the land could be for this use. 3/17/12, City Council gave thumbs up to go ahead with this project. And at that time, they assigned Councilman Alan Weeks to serve as the liaison between the council and our group. And July 2012, the city hired Natural Community Services for removal of hazardous and invasive trees within the property. Okay, so that's just kind of some of the bullets of what we've been dealing with chronologically. With this grassroots project, we were all learning as we went along. I tried to stay in good contact with Jeff Mueller, the last city administrator. Our city was very fortunate that Peter Stefan was one resident that attended almost all the study sessions and the meetings of the city council. The friends of the VP were grateful that Peter became a part of our group, and this made it quite easy to know what was happening within the VP for council members, in addition to their liaison, Alan Weeks. 2, I added the city council members to the email list of the Friends in order to keep them in the loop. In the past year, I have not been contacted by Alan or any council members about anything concerning the preserve. In realizing that Peter has been unable to continue his attending the council meetings, it became even more important for our friends, emails to be a major tool in our communicating. So it has come to my attention that some of you may not be reading these emails, and if that's the case, I don't know how else to communicate with you. And I was also wondering if you were planning to assign another liaison that might actually liaison between my group and the council.
I'll answer that part for the how to communicate with us. As I requested before, and I keep saying on a regular basis, every quarter for someone to come to the council would be greatly appreciated. It would be helpful. Just to give us an update. I appreciate the emails, but you know, stuff happens where emails can get lost and emails can get pushed down. So I think that as a group and everyone on the same page, making sure they're hearing the same exact message, it would be a good idea just to be a regular on our agenda every quarter.
Every quarter?
That's my recommendation. I can't speak for everybody else.
Just an observation. I think I'm the liaison between Parks and Recreation, so I'm maybe the default person you could communicate with, and I have been reading the emails. I just haven't responded because we were kind of waiting to hear what would happen tonight because you know, we had those 2 open points, and I think council discussed it earlier today, where the groups that are associated with the Village Preserve would come here as a unified front and make a presentation. That would be one of the open items, and then the second item would have been, this is what we discussed 2 weeks ago, to submit a proposal on how to move the preserve forward, and then that way we can kind of discuss what those options.
I'm puzzled. You said the groups. There's only one group.
Okay, well, I don't know if they're fractions or factions of your group, but I think there's more than one entity in the room at this point because someone before you made a request to change the zoning. So
Right.
I think
Right.
you both are saying the same thing. It's just maybe you should get together and unify it because I think you're
Well-
really strong now. So let's.
Well, it was disruptive because, you know, Bruce and Colin initiated some things on their own. Colin seemed not to have any awareness of what we had done up to now. I figured Bruce had. Since then, though, Colin is a part of the board now.
Okay.
So there's just one entity.
Okay.
So that you don't have to worry about.
Okay.
And Bruce just beat me to the punch. We're on the same page with what we want.
Okay.
How many
Yeah.
votes did they give you, Colin?
How many did they give? But Sandy, it would still be great because of the different conversations, if we could have just a meeting or a gathering just to talk about that and to bring all of whatever loose ends, just to bring everybody. This is wonderful for me, being new. This is perfect because I've had, you know, questions on the inception and why this or that.
Right.
But I think what Ian was saying was that because there was an appearance of 2 groups, we just all want to get together and just, not that it's 2 groups, let's everybody get together, you guys get together with whoever can come from city council, and let's just get it where it's, you know, comprehensive for all of us. That's all he's saying.
Absolutely.
Because we can't do detailed discussions right now, right? Because this is...
Well, this group always knew that it was because of you that we went through and were registered as a group, an organization with the city, and you always knew that I was heading it up. So if there are other people presenting for you, I would hope you would refer them back to our group.
It wasn't happening over a period of time.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Lately, it has just been where it has been. Where
We
I've talked
haven't
to
heard
you.
anything for a
I've talked to
while.
you. You've had one, you know, thought process. I've talked to Bruce and Colin, and they had a different process. The whole thing is that, as a group, and again, I'm speaking freely for everyone, is that we would like some type of collaboration within your group to present like a united front and to meet with us. Actually, what I asked the council is for us to have a open meeting for the entire city to come and discuss the Village Preserve. I think that would be
Yeah.
an even better idea, because even though, and I think this is great also, even though you presented a letter to all of the people that are around the circle and they were all in agreement with it, but we all know that's kind of changed right now. Everybody's feelings are not exactly the same as when we first started out with it. So I think that it would be a good idea for us to have another, or have a town hall meeting to present this to the city, to everyone in the city, and let's move forward and see what we can do. Because like right now, it does seem like it's just a little, there's just different parts of your group. There's one group, but there's different spokespeople. Maybe that's a better way to say it.
Yeah.
That's how I
Well,
see it.
it's perceived by you that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, trust me, it was a shock for me too.
Yeah, and you know, maybe I should apologize because maybe we did send mixed signals originally with the letter, and I apologize, you know, because we were a representative of council, but then we did try to course correct with the second letter, and we hope it didn't create more confusion. So we led with the confusion, so I want to apologize for that. But if we can move forward from here, just take the first step where we say, okay, who is the group? What do you represent? You could communicate with anybody on this council, or me, if you just want to do it that way, and I can forward the information.
I think
that's
the
not a
bottom-
problem.
No, it should, this
Whoever.
meeting should be all of us. And-
Yeah, it's fine.
And that's why I didn't want to see another letter go out and be misinterpreted. Let's just all come together, and we're willing to do that. It's period.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think
This
the
is
bottom line
very
is, I think Bruce
Can I peek at it?
capably spoke to this evening. The real issue, I think that the writer of the infamous letter, as we may say, was doing this at the strong suggestion of the city council. Because I think as a council, we've reached the point where we know that some decision must be made firmly as to what the future of that project is. And so there's no question that Bruce's suggestion, and I think one you've mentioned as well, of changing the zoning, or at least having whatever zoning is going to be applied to the property, is going to determine what it's going to be. So if it goes to the suggested, what was the letter?
PS.
PS.
Yeah.
I love you. No, that's not it. P.S. If it's that, it's obviously a much more limited scope of things that can happen there. It's not going to be houses. It's not going to be a hotel with a casino on the roof or anything like that. It's going to be something in the park type of, we tried. Something in the park definition of parks, or that type of thing. So, I think council would welcome the opportunity to hear from as many people as are interested. We're not going to debate this whole thing tonight, I can tell you that.
No.
But,
May I finish reading?
Sure.
no. Yeah, of course you do. You
Okay.
dare me to stop you, don't you?
I said may. Funding issues. My understanding from the get-go was the city did not have the funds to be able to provide much assistance to us. We agreed that this would be an all-volunteer program. Jeff Mueller was able to get trees that we planted for the preserve. The Wildflower Association of Michigan awarded us grant monies for seeds, plants, and shrub plugs for the years 2012, 2014, and 2015. While I had the minimal skill set to write the WHAM grants, Wildflower Association of Michigan, there were many other grant opportunities that I sent to the city administrator. These monies would be useful for all of our parkland, not just the preserve, and I have no knowledge what was done with these. After numerous episodes of dumping into the butterfly garden, that's the triangle part there, the final straw came when an unknown neighbor paid for the mowing of the park. This was done in early spring, the ground was tender, and we had planted extensively the fall before. The mowers were very, very destructive. It was after this that we discussed having the city install a short fencing around the perimeter of the butterfly garden. We felt a great sense of support and jubilation when Matt said that they would do so. At that time, he also sent a couple options for signage. I told him we'd love them, and I never heard anything more. We were then told for the 2014-2015 season, we could have $5,000 worth of work by the Department of Public Works. This felt like winning the lottery. We had been pinching pennies for maximizing our grant monies and the donated funds that came in from a couple very generous neighbors. We had to pay to get a gate made, and we installed it ourselves because the city kept sitting on the request while we kept having to clean up from neighbors dumping onto the property. We asked that the funds go toward removal of the cement left from the Lathrup driveway. Some of it was simply covered over with a few inches of dirt, and we only learned this when we attempted to plant a tree there. Ultimately, the DPW refused to do the job because they had nowhere to put the cement. And our old Lathrup-owned DPW would have gotten it done. This delayed the plan to install the path last year. Please know that with the exception of this money that could be used only for DPW, I know of absolutely no funds offered to us. There have not been any given to us, yet I understand that the City Council shows monies dedicated to the preserve to the tune of $5,000 per year. Truly, I would like to know how this was spent. At this point, I suspect the fencing was installed through this means, but I was under the impression that the city was simply making the decision to spend their funds in this manner. If we knew we had monies to work with each year, do you really think that we would not have used them? Plans for 2016. We plan to install the path. This will begin next month, as a matter of fact, and Colin has taken the lead on this. We have had some additional expertise helping us out in the form of Colin Copus. We will be incorporating as much of the historical bricks and slate pieces from the original driveway, while the path will consist of mulch. Once the path is made, we can open the preserve for everyone to enjoy. We will need signage to encourage people to stay on the path at this point. We hope to install benches and a couple of picnic tables along the path as well. We wondered about the possibilities of a grill or two. We would also like to have a couple of attractive trash receptacles for use here. Given the thefts we've had in the past, we need to make sure that anything that's added is cemented or by some other means kept securely in place. Directly attached to both outer sides of the front gate, we plan to add an inviting pergola-styled entranceway. We plan to embellish these with some nice native vines. We hope to finally get some real signage for plants and wildlife information, for our name, the Village Preserve, and an area where we can post a map of the property with announcements and volunteer working schedules. Simultaneous, we will continue our efforts of planting native plants, trees, shrubs, and spreading seeds. We will also continue our efforts for removing invasive species. So our needs, many of you have come to realize just how devastating the letters of criticism and of ending the preserve hit so many of us. Those of us who have been doing this work from the inception of the project have had winds changing on us with so many times that it has become most disconcerting. We need to know that the City Council is indeed going to support us. We need to have the property declared to be parkland. This will open up additional funding opportunities for the city. This will help us get more volunteers. I can't tell you how many people have said that they don't want to do this hard work just to give it away to some developer. We also need to know whether or not you are truly setting aside $5,000 for our use each year, if this is the case. And Colin has some more specific money details for this project that's coming up with both the path and the entranceway. So,
Can I stop you right here before you all go on? Because the one thing that and I appreciate you doing this, and again, and I always have to give this little sidebar that this is totally what my thoughts are, is number one, We do need to know what's going on with the money. I see it every budget year that
there?
it's a line item, and Mr. Kopis will know that it's been a line item every year since we started, so I am concerned about where that's going, and perhaps we can have that written out, or, to explain to you.
We've had some reports on that, yes.
Okay, so number 2 is, it's not just what the council wants, it's kind of what the residents want also. So I think that goes back to the fact that we need to have some type of meeting with the residents to see exactly where everyone is with it, because you hear one thing of people being upset that it was assumed that we were gonna take this parkland or the land away, but then on the other side, I know that most of us have heard the opposite of that it's an eyesore. Obviously because somebody didn't mow it, they thought it was an eyesore. So I think we need to have that discussion. And then I appreciate everything that you're doing right here in explaining everything to us. But kind of like, and I'm not trying to throw you all under the bus, kind of like the children's garden, to have a proposal laid out exactly of what your wants are and exactly of how much it is, I think that would be, okay, well, that would
I
be
think that's where
perfect.
Colin is coming.
That's what he has.
What?
No, I was just saying, I think that's why Colin's standing up there, because he's about to throw it at us.
All right.
But I do have
Quickly,
one. I
quickly.
do have one question. I'm sorry. I apologize.
We have a budget to
Right,
approve
that's
tonight,
my-
which
that
has
was my whole
happened, which
point of
does
saying that.
happen to contain that $5,000 appropriation for the purpose of supporting activities at the preserve. And it's been done every year for the last 4 years at least, I'm sure, because I'll have to go back and look at the old budgets, but I know it's been there for at least 3 and probably 4. So at any rate, give us your additional things there, and then we're going to proceed with
Colin
others who might
Kopis,
have something.
18139 Avila, Lathrop Village. I feel silly I didn't make one
Flex
for
your
each of
muscles a
you.
little too, so
But
Well, read it and pass it down.
essentially, it's just a very basic budget of what it's going to take to get this park up and usable this year. And it's really not anything extensive. It's like mulch, the rental of some power tools, like a brush cutter and a small bobcat to kind of scrape the surface of where the bricks and the stone are currently, so that we can harvest them and then reuse them in a path type, Anyway, also there's picnic tables, there's some lattice work that we were thinking would,
I hate to do this, but I just need to stop you 1 second and ask you to, maybe all of you, to talk among yourselves, because among the thoughts of the original thing is this was to be a passive park, which if you start adding barbecue units and picnic tables, it's developing use. You're going to have trash receptacles. You're going to have someone that empties them. So I'm just saying, think through that as we continue these discussions over the next few weeks, so that we reach some agreement on it, because that is the first time I've heard proposals for barbecue grills and picnic tables. Not saying it's a bad idea, I'm just saying, but it does alter the original vision that I remember was presented of being a very passive.
there are actually
Type
no
park.
grills on that. That was just an idea we kicked around.
I know there's none now.
Well, I mean, on that proposal there.
Okay, well, I'm just saying.
And the
that's-
picnic tables, you could swap out for benches.
That's why I didn't
Just a
want, I
place to sit.
apologize for interrupting you, because I've heard it now twice in the different discussions this evening, and I wanted to just remind everybody that was never a part of our discussion back when, so.
Sure.
And if I lived on the circle, it would certainly make a difference.
Well, you'd like that, would you?
If I
Beer
wanted to-
cans tossed
no.
over on your yard?
If I lived on the circle, I mean, knowing that it's just, rather than it just being a nice
Right.
park, picnic area, I would.
Go ahead, finish your.
Sure. Well,
description.
and
Sorry.
that goes to living
I
on the
see
circle.
that.
There are
When you're
areas where
finished.
we've cleared the invasive trees, and so what we were thinking is putting some lattice work in some
didn't
of those
want it
blank
anyway.
spots that we could climb vines up, and that would create some instant privacy for people. Also, there's money on there for some mature trees and mature shrubs that
Did you
will
look at it?
that will do that job as well. Kind of kickstart some of the flora that will make this less of an eyesore and more of a place to come and learn about, the natural world, as well as, just enjoy being outside. So
Like
it's
the
just,
perimeter.
What is the
Very
current
nice.
status of the butterfly garden portion? Because you said, you commented in your comments it was fenced in by
it
the
is
city.
fenced in, it's,
Do you expect to have monarchs descending on it this
It
spring?
has that short,
Yes.
nice short wood fence around it that the city paid for.
Okay.
And
5,000.
we just have to see how much comes up this year. We planted densely last
All
year
right.
in the corners, and so,
So you're just gonna, right now, we're waiting to see
well, yeah,
what
last,
spring allows to spring forth.
right.
Yeah,
But last
okay.
year, we did have plenty of butterflies.
Well, I did
Not
go,
enough
I
milkweed.
walked the area one time last fall, I think, before when the fence discussion was going on, to see what it looked like, so, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
and also on that budget is money for the CAD design, but, if you were to eliminate that, you'd fall just under the 5,000. And because we had spoke about not only potentially not needing that, but also using money from last year's budget,
I know.
which, would,
And there is
Keep
some
that
that was
necessary.
not spent last year. And this fiscal year that we say last year, that's really this year's fiscal budget, still has some small amount of money in it that was not spent. You're right. So,
and I did speak with Ed about what kind of timeline he could put together on something like that. And he could have the design finished by the end of July, and it would cost between $8,000 and $1,000. But if we so decide to move forward with that, if not,
okay.
that was just
All right.
what I talked to him about.
Did you guys talk about that?
Yeah.
All right, will you?
So that's what you all have to, you all get together and
So because we let a
discuss that.
contract, we let contracts for work to be done. We let contracts for work to be done. We'll be doing it under the auspices of the city, in which case there are certain requirements like getting quotes, et cetera, that we need to adhere to. It's not like this is $1 million job. I know that. I'm not trying to blow it into something it's not, but the city does have certain requirements that it's required to observe. So if the public ever says, why'd you spend money for that? Did you get a competitive bid? Did you get, what went on? That we have the appropriate paper trails and things that, support what we've done, so, anyway. All right. Colin, I thank you, and we will talk with you, whoever.
Did you want that back?
In terms of setting up a follow-up meeting. Can we do that? All right.
Thank you, that was.
Thank you for your time and and again, I will also echo what Ms. Stallings said, and that is that the history lesson and the materials, supporting materials, are good. We have 2 brand-new members of the council, and they have probably not seen any of this in the past. Some of us have seen some of it, and maybe not all of it, but some of it, and we've been a part of some of the discussions, obviously, and we know you've had some dedicated people that have worked manually. I'm notoriously absent from a lot of manual labor, but anyway, that's.
This helped me a lot, I'll tell you that.
I was born and raised on a
it's
farm,
very
but I
nice.
learned not to do that work
That helped
as
me.
time went by.
Yeah, I'd like to look.
Thank you,
Thank
Colin.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
And thank you for coming. And Bruce?
always good to see you, Bruce.
Yeah, we love seeing Bruce. He's a alumni of the council, and I think it's encouraging to see that you have new members now of your group that want to make something happen, and
Colin, Barb Stetson.
yeah, see where it all goes from here. All right, thank you. Was there anyone else that wished to address the council on issues that are not on the agenda for this evening? Yes. And I think you might be on the agenda, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's why I sort of hesitated, but anyway.
Barbara Lapicola, 18890 Rainbow Drive. And I do see item 8D on the agenda here, the council considering appointment of an animal ordinance subcommittee. I'm very encouraged by that. What I'm asking right now is for an update from last month's city council meeting until right now. Who met and what was decided, if that is in fact not going to be covered by this point.
I think it will be. Will it be covered in that?
Sure, I would
Okay.
simply mention that the city attorney has been working to draft an ordinance that is impactful and easily enforced in the court system. He's also had, one or two of those cases actually come before a judge.
Two of them.
Two of them, so that he could actually help him gauge basically where some of the shortfalls of our ordinances are, to make sure that the new ordinances moving forward meets our goals. So it's been a lot of work on getting a draft together and getting the provisions together for that. Now that hopefully, if council sees fit to do so, we form a subcommittee this evening, and then we'll get a working draft amongst that group and get it over to the public under a hearing or some sort of informational meeting, and then back to this body for readings.
Okay, great. That's the update. Thank you.
Barbara. And as the new chairman of that, oh, no, never mind. We'll get into your election later. Yeah. Anyone else wish to be heard by the city this evening? Items, again, not on the agenda for this evening. All right, we're going to move on. We had a public hearing advertised for 7 p.m., and I think that's where it is right now in about Indianapolis, Indiana, so we'll consider that. I'm going to ask Mr. Baumgarten to give a brief presentation on the budget.
Absolutely.
And then we will open up for public hearing for those who might have questions on the budget or points they wish to make or suggest or whatever. And then the council will take action on the budget before the evening is over.
Sure, Mr. Mayor,
Baumgarten.
I put together a brief 200 slides on the topic. I
Good.
hope you'll bear with me.
You don't have copies of that, do you, for the audience?
They're delivered by forklift, actually.
You don't have copies of that for the audience?
Not of this particular item, but these will actually appear on the rebroadcast of this council meeting. And it's 30-something slides, but I won't go through each of them for you. So look for it on LBTV, across all of your cable stations. So. But Mr. Mayor, presenting to this body a proposed 16-17 fiscal year annual budget. Some of the highlights included in this year's budget. This marks the third consecutive year of taxable value growth that we have seen. So that's always good news if you consider where the housing values and the taxable values have gone over the previous 8 years. It's a breath of fresh air and actually moving in the right direction. The millage rate proposal is 22.7046. We are at the, thank you to the Lathrop's residents, but we are at the top of the chartered amount following the rollback decision from a couple of years ago. So we are grateful to be able to invest those revenues back into the community. 500,000 of which is, I'm sorry, 500,000 which almost $500,000 of that investment will come in the form of infrastructure needs. So our roads, our sanitary sewer, our storm system, and our water system are all receiving either maintenance or dedicated capital projects that will keep them functioning at a high level far into the future. We maintain our level of staffing of 16 full-time employees and 8 part-time. And then one of my favorite items to report is that the water and sewer rates will remain flat for the first time in many, many years. And it's something that's good that's happening this year. We don't foresee that happening again for the next couple of years because of really items out of our control. The new Great Lakes Water Authority is working through a transition period, and the sanitary sewer system that serves this region, both of which will probably incur some heavy costs coming up in the next few years, but it's nice for this snapshot in this budget year to have those items remain flat. And I think our residents will enjoy seeing no significant change in their water and sewer bills come July 1. So it's a good thing to be able to
Depending
report.
on their usage.
Right, right.
Yes.
If you use a lot of water, you'll see more, but it's not because of the rates. So like I say, those are some of the biggest highlights I'm very grateful to report. Our revenues are down from the previous years. The budget revenues forecasted this year are $6,514,279. Align that with all the expenditures, $6,480,073. You'll see that we are looking overall to be at a bit of a shortfall, so we will have some of the fund balance contributing. That does not happen in the general fund, but it will be in some of the other funds that you'll see. But each of those do carry a fund balance for those particular situations. Our revenues remained only slightly down, and our expenditures have been brought down accordingly as well. So we have, in total, we've got about $26,000 reduction across all funds in our budget to try to keep pace with decreasing revenues on the whole. So I'll skip that one as well. So that's specific to the general fund. You have several funds that actually contribute to the total overall. Let's see. Past the general fund, you'll have your street maintenance budget, which is $544,398. That is a slight increase as we invest more into our road program. Water and sewer, your water fund is $721,746. That is a slight increase as well. And the water and sewer fund, and a total actually sees a decrease when you put in the sewer revenues. Most of that is attributed to, we've been out to bid for some projects. We received favorable rates for those, so we're able to decrease the line item budget on the maintenance portion. Do the same amount of work for a little bit less money is always a very, very good thing. And then our debt service is down slightly, and our capital acquisitions is down slightly. So all in all, this is what we've categorized the last few years as a maintenance budget. We continue to deal with the fallout from the housing crisis and the taxable value crisis that really hit this municipality hard. The term maintenance budget basically applies to the fact that we're keeping things going along, but we're not able to make brand new significant investments into any of our various programs or resources because we simply don't have the investments to give right now. We're hoping for some new redevelopments over the next couple of years that would free that up. But for the time being, sir, the ship is right. It's heading forward, and we don't see a general fund shortfall in the future. So I'll have additional information online for anybody that wants to take a look at it. And the city's budget is, of course, always posted on the website for anyone to take a look at. So I'm happy to deliver to you a complete, balanced, proposed 2016-17 budget.
Council has had several study sessions in which we have looked at various aspects of the budget and have discussed all of these items. Approval of the budget is scheduled for tonight, and this is pretty much the date at which it has to be done.
Per our city charter, yes, sir.
Yes, according to the city charter. So we were fortunate to have Matt have had practice the last several years doing this, so we regret that he's sneaking out the back door on us. But we also know we have Pam, our treasurer, who has done a great job over the years of minding the city's finances, so we appreciate that as well. So that's the end of your presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then at this time I would declare the floor open for the public hearing on the budget. If there's anyone here that wishes to be ask questions or speak on the budget, this is your opportunity to do so. Again, give your name and address for the record by stepping to the podium and using the microphone. Anyone? Did I just hear someone yell, me? No, I didn't think so. All right. All right, we will then declare the public hearing closed, and we will move on to the action items that council has this evening. First is the consideration of a contract for telecommunications services. This is an item that was tabled at our last meeting, so I need a motion to remove this item from the table.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. The motion carries, and the item is now back on the table. And I think the city administrator has a recommendation concerning this matter.
Yes, sir. The recommendation that was proposed back when this matter was initially proposed to the council, since we've done a lot more studying since that point, and we've taken a look at how these numbers were delivered to us, and on the whole, we're asking that the city council reject the proposal and allow staff to continue their due diligence and look further into the matter.
Council, you've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to deny the telecommunication proposal from Schooley Mitchell.
Second. Discussion.
It's been seconded. Excuse me, did you second?
Yes.
Is there any discussion?
Yes. What's the basis behind your recommendation?
We feel that there's more money to be able to be leveraged to the city's benefits if staff investigate this independent of Schooley Mitchell's input. We do have the ability to speak directly with representatives from, say, WOW or AT&T, or we can speak with Comcast directly. The consultants were good at helping us audit our needs, but we were on the whole dissatisfied with the full breadth of their proposals and their recommendations. So it's something that we'd like to be able to follow up on independently.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed,
What's your
the motion carries. So we will reject
No.
the
No, deny.
report. Next item is to consider a motion to adopt the proposed budget resolutions for the budget year 2016-17.
Yeah. Sorry.
What's her emotion?
For the last,
What was it?
What's her emotion?
The
I'm
annual
sorry.
fiscal year resolutions.
Okay.
we did make a motion for,
The telecommunication?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we
Yes, we
voted
did.
that.
I
We
did
did.
the motion.
Well, I know we voted on it, I just didn't
Kelly
hear the
made a motion.
motion.
I made the motion.
Okay,
Ian
thank you, I'm
seconded.
sorry.
It was
Ian
made,
seconded.
seconded, and
They were kind of quiet over on that side of the table.
it's a, don't tempt fate. It
Carry
might
on.
get noisy
not
any
even
minute,
nothing.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's it. All right, proposed resolutions for the 2016 budget. There are, in your packet or in the material, there is several resolutions, but they can be
Together.
put together as one.
I'm certainly for it, but I don't see.
Material I downloaded on mine, by the way, is really disjointed here.
The font
So
is really odd. I don't know what
really
happened.
towards the end, which makes it hard for me to find exactly where I am here.
Mr. Mayor, while you're looking for that, I was remiss to not thank our city treasurer and assistant city administrator for finance, Pamela Barachi, as well as department heads like Chief Armstrong. And then behind them are two other staff members that worked with us on the DDA budget as well. So every budget is truly a team effort, and I've got most of my team sitting before you now. So I would be remiss if I did not thank them for their work on this.
Yes, you would.
Thank you. Well, I'll
Thank
make
you.
a motion to adopt the annual fiscal year resolutions for 2016-17 fiscal year as prepared and submitted by the city administrator.
Thank you, you found it, good.
I told you.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion by members? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to adopt the budget resolutions, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. And the budget is adopted.
Thank you.
Next item is considering the appointment of an acting city administrator. As most of you, I'm sure, in this room tonight know, Mr. Baumgarten has decided to desert ship, and he's sitting there uncomfortably, actually giving him a bad time for no reason. He's been more than fair in terms of the amount of notice he gave, and the council is well along in terms of beginning and getting going on the recruitment process for a successor. But in the meantime, in another week, well, end of this week, really, you will be
11 days.
departing for the city of, but we won't use that word out loud. Berkeley, I have to say it. They're a nice neighbor in spite of this act of treachery that they have perpetrated on us. It is important that we have some additional continuity. Matt mentioned several of our department heads or administrative staff in his comments a second ago, and at this time, we're going to consider the appointment of an acting city administrator that will serve in terms of certain decision-making in the absence of Matthew, and thus keeping the city administrator out of the other guy's hair. Or not city administrator, the mayor out of the other people's hair. So, Matthew? What is that recommendation, please?
Our recommendation would be for Pamela Barachi to receive the title of Acting City Administrator. I have included in your packets the charter provisions for this position, as well as a listing of some of the functions and duties, and a section on the relationship of the council to the administrators. So plenty of information for you, but Pamela Barachi will be taking on this role. Again, everything's a team effort, so she'll be doing so with the full support of our entire administrative staff, but it's important to have one individual, and my recommendation is our 16-year employee and department head who has served as treasurer and was recently made our assistant city administrator for finance. So the city's in very capable hands.
Should point out that Pam has carried the title of treasurer as defined by the city charter for these 16 years. Has done a great job, in addition to that, however, in her duties are included a lot of things that would normally be in most other cities around us under the heading of finance director, as against the treasurer responsibilities. So this move also recognizes her ongoing contributions in that regard as well. This is your last chance to say, help me, get me out of here. Is there a motion to make the appointment?
I make a motion to appoint Pam Barachi to the acting city administrator.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion?
Yes, there is though.
Yep.
As I was going through the functions and duties, well, one, I didn't see the coffee part in here yet, but I'm going to let that go. I'm just
We're
thinking,
appreciative of that.
yeah. At the beginning, his functions and duties shall be. Maybe that should just be his or hers.
The charter is actually very gender specific throughout. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Royal Oak just recently went to the people on a vote to remove gender specific language, but ours does make a reference on any position to basically his across the board. So that is not my language. That is the charter's language.
Well,
That
that's
would be a
just a search and replace, right?
It really is, but you have to make an amendment.
We have
to
to-
It would be an
charter.
amendment
Yeah.
to the charter.
Yeah, we
and would have to follow those
Done. You'll
provisions.
follow up with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because amending a charter is really easy, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it
Start
is.
to replace.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Just kidding.
that's
I
not-
know.
yeah.
I know.
Which is, quite frankly, why, while Pam, quite frankly, has been, in effect, be acting as finance director, because the charter places that role within the city administrator, which is why, in recognition, we created a position that was not directed by the charter in order to recognize and accommodate, in fact, what she does do. Is that fair?
Indeed.
A fair assessment of what our charter says?
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Clerk, did I get a vote on this yet?
No.
No, not yet.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. You got unanimous approval. Madam Treasurer / Acting City Administrator.
You want to come up here and I'll just head out? or-
Well, you do have 10
Want
days.
to point out there are two other gentlemen behind you in the room. I said two other gentlemen. How's that? Ken Martin and, of course, Sean Flint.
Cameron?
Is his middle name?
Cameron?
Cameron, for both of which are assistants to the city administrator or assistant city administrator. Could you maybe just for the benefit of the audience, let them know what their primary, folks in the room know what their primary duties and responsibilities are?
Oh, it'd be my absolute pleasure. Mr. Martin, I'll go by time that you joined the city. I'm not going to count your first term, Sean.
You know, do you think just for purposes of the camera,
Come on
you
up
could
to
have them
the
step
podium.
up?
Yeah,
Have stand up.
Let's
Or just stand
parade
up
them
so
out.
we'll know
Oh,
who
come
you
on,
are.
you look great. You look great.
Yes.
You got a nice shirt. and
Nice tie.
tie.
Come on to the podium.
Nice tie. Name and address.
You don't have to say anything now. In fact, I
right.
prefer you just keep your mouth shut. We'll let you know what.
We'll tell you
no,
when.
I'm sorry.
The,
look like a
the
lineup?
gentleman in the yellow with the blue tie is Ken Martin. He likes long walks on the beach and fine dining.
Number one.
No, in all seriousness, Ken's been with us since September of last year, is that correct?
Yeah.
He's done a phenomenal job. He is primarily, we've tasked him with keeping our building and code enforcement operations straight.
Yes, he has.
And he's doing a great job there, as many can attest. But also, you'll see him a lot on the Main Street activities from the city. As we really start to make our downtown area and our village center and all of our plans, we want to make them really, really fun and really community oriented. And Main Street carries both those goals. And you'll see Ken carry that torch in each of our various committee meetings, of which we have 4, and contact Ken if you'd like to join any of them. They're all a blast. But yeah, and Ken comes to us from a journalism background as well. So much of what is being written out and what is coming out of City Hall now, you'll notice that it's now grammatically correct, so you know I'm not writing it anymore. But Ken is, and Ken is a great asset to our communications efforts as well as our Main Street efforts, and he's done a great job keeping our building and code enforcement operations up and running as well. So
Okay, thank you.
he's and then our other asset, Mr. Sean Kammer, comes back to us after a short stint in another community. But Sean is our Assistant City Administrator tasked with economic development. So he is the now Executive Director of our DDA. He's also the liaison to the Planning Commission from the administrative staff. And he is basically the czar of economic development for the city of Lathrup Village. He is primarily tasked with implementing our community master plan as far as the economic development efforts go, and keeping our DDA on course. He basically serves as the DDA's version of their administrator. They call it the executive director, but he's the chief administrative officer for that body as well. So a lot of good things going on, a lot of new faces around City Hall, but we don't make these choices lightly, and we're happy to have 2 very well qualified gentlemen working for us. So those are your introductions, gentlemen.
It only took you a year to get introduced that nicely, and it's your second chance at it, so good job. Good job. Thank you, all of you. Okay,
Welcome aboard.
the City Council will consider appointing an animal ordinance subcommittee. Mr. Baumgart.
Mr. Mayor and members of council, as alluded to earlier, we are going to be putting together an animal ordinance subcommittee to make sure that the city is in the best position possible to make sure that our little 4-legged friends are well kept and well tended to by their owners. And in the situation where an owner falls off on that responsibility, that the community is well served by making sure we have some recourse against those owners and that and the animal. We are recommending that Mr. Baker, Ms. Lapicolo, a member of council and a member of the Planning Commission, form the subcommittee to review the ordinance and present back to this body an actionable draft for a first and second reading.
That review, I assume, will continue another opportunity for our members of the public to weigh in
Yes, sir.
before we make that final presentation to council.
Yes, I think the council was very clear in that instruction.
Yes.
I'd be more than happy to be the one member of council.
All in favor?
More.
We appreciate your volunteerism.
That's what I do.
All right. Was there anyone else that had to be appointed?
Not from this body, sir.
Well,
The member of the planning commission will serve as well.
And you'll get that post haste so that this group can
Indeed.
finish their work? All right.
Just a quick question. If any member of council would like to just attend the meeting, is that
Sure.
acceptable? It's not violating anything,
I think,
right?
no, it's anybody, it's free to
Okay,
ask.
thank you.
Probably welcomed.
You
Thank you.
better post those.
Yes,
though.
any member of the
say, as
subcommittee
long as-
will be posted.
Okay, thank you.
That way if
But then that could be.
So we can
if
all
we get
go.
more than 2 council members
Exactly.
there, it all of a sudden becomes a official meeting.
That's why I
We
was
have
asking the
to-
questions.
So
Well,
we
that's gonna be
should,
for any meeting.
we should post them in that way that doesn't become a
I agree.
problem.
All right, thank you.
So,
Nita, so the motion
make
would
a
be to
motion
appoint the committee as described by the city administrator.
I make a motion to appoint members. Councilwoman, pardon me?
Just one member.
Yeah, one member, Councilwoman Kelly, to add to an animal ordinance subcommittee.
I'm sure you want to do that.
Yeah, I want to be in control of all the animals.
All the
Se-
animals.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries.
That was fun. I'll give you that one.
Contract for building maintenance services, Mr. Baumgarten.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Clifton Grant has served as our building maintenance and janitorial contractor for well over a decade. And he's been doing a great job. Given the change in administration, he has always worked very well with people because with the administrators, he's known them. He's seen each of us kind of come up through the ranks. Now that we're going to an independent person, I think it's time for us to solidify contractually our relationship with Mr. Grant, so that is one less thing that the incoming person has to do. Cliff, I think, would feel very secure in his position. I do not want to lose Mr. Grant. He has been a stalwart as far as keeping this building in the utmost condition. Every day when you come in, you're probably going to see Cliff. I'm fairly certain he has a Murphy bed hidden, stashed away somewhere in this building because he's always here, he's always working for us, and he continues to ensure that this building is ready to go for what may come. So I've outlined the work that he does and the fee schedule that we're currently operating under, as well as a list of performance and duties that he has met and exceeded on a regular basis. So I hope the council would
So the suggested motion is what?
to approve the attached independent contract agreement with Clifton Grant for building maintenance and janitorial services.
Thank you.
I think to get someone to do all that he does at this price is
Yeah, it's unreal.
okay. I'm looking at it, but I definitely
He
agree.
knows,
So
he
who
knows,
wants to
that-
make-
I think we all know that he's
Yes.
worth every penny and maybe 1 or 2 more pennies that we pay him. But he does a great job for us. We know.
Okay.
I'll make
Well, I make
Did
a
you move
motion that
approving
I make a motion that we accept the independent contractor agreement for building services.
I'll second. I have a question though.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion?
Yeah. So this is just open-ended. I don't see that this is something that has to be,
No.
it's not a contract that has to be renewed on,
No, the termination of the
There is
agreement
a
would come.
termination
it's
clause.
for 30 days.
Right, right.
Okay. And there's nothing in here saying that he needs to get a cell phone?
There is nothing mandating that, no ma'am.
Is there any way we can adjust?
That's right.
I think if the...
Can we
whoever-
adjust to include a
I
cell
think if
phone
whoever the
availability?
administrator is determines he needs a cell phone, they know how to make such a decision. So
Right.
Okay.
we'll leave that up to them.
Yeah.
And where's the
All right,
termination
there's been
clause?
a
'Cause I
motion
don't-
and a second, am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there any more
second. I just asking
City administrator, I don't see it.
Paragraph 4.
Thank you.
Paragraph 4?
references
I'm
the
scanning
termination. Yeah.
quickly,
Depending.
yes.
It's
for
a 7-day
terms of agreement.
at-will for
Oh, okay.
cause
Okay.
is immediate or 30-day notice by either party.
Yep. All right.
Any other discussion or questions?
No, sir.
All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. The City Council will consider enrollment in the Water Residential Assistance Program. So, Mr. Baumgartner, maybe just a brief word as to what that assistance program is, and then what it is you're asking us to approve.
Actually, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to ask that Pamela Bracci talk a little bit about it, but I'll start if you want to fill in some of the blanks. But GLEWA, the Great Lakes Water Authority, has set aside a sizable fund in order to help individuals who need assistance in paying their utility bills, specifically water. We feel that this is something that could help our individual residents. You saw the size of the special assessments rolls from approved at the February meeting. There is no monies required of the city from this. This is a program that is funded out of the authority. So it's little cost, no cost to the city outside of keeping up with the bills themselves, which we do on a monthly basis anyway, and it could be a lot of benefit to those who would apply for the program. So, okay, you wanna?
They have to be, the only thing that they have to be based on income. It's an income base, and they would have to, I would have them contact Aaron Carlton in the, my administrative assistant for finance, to have him talk to you, and he would be able to get the paperwork rolling if anybody was interested in that.
Okay, thank you.
He would be able to help with that. I think it's a very worthwhile program for a lot of our seniors that are having trouble. You have to be behind on your water bills, and you get up to $1,000 a year. For, I think it's 2 years, 2 to 3 years. I'm not exactly sure on the exact.
And it's an income-based program.
It's an income-based program.
But I do have a question about this, is that even though it's for low income or low income residents, this is not something someone could use if they just fell on hard times of being laid off for 90 days or 120 days or something like that.
Only if their income drops. So they might not qualify this year, but if they were down for a year and then their income dropped, then they would qualify. It's
So they
just,
have to prove it from their tax record. So say if someone, they lose their job in July, they have no income from July until the next July, they can't enroll in this until next year because it has to be proved that they don't have, they have to be below the, so, okay.
yeah, it's kind of like our hardship cases. Our hardship cases is if somebody was into a hardship and they were making, let's say January of 2015, they were doing really well and they got laid off in December of 2015, they would not qualify for the 16 taxes, but they might qualify for 17 if they kept that low income going.
Right. So
And there has to be an income. It can't be no income. It can't be, I got laid off, I don't have an income. One of the
Right.
requirements of the
Well,
program.
they'll ask questions.
In order to pay, you have to have proof of some income, just a low one.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying that this is not a program for someone that fell on hard times. It's for someone who's been on hard times.
Been on hard
for a
times.
long
So like a lot of the seniors that are only on Social Security and they only make $25,000 a year.
Right.
Okay. Any other discussion or questions on the motion?
I would just say that if somebody does have experiences in like all of a sudden or an unexpected decrease, our community alliance partner in this is going to be the Oakland Livingston Human Services Agency.
Okay.
That they have other programs that may help bridge the gap until they can qualify for this.
Okay.
So I would still suggest they reach out to that agency and see whatever
That's
support
good
they can get.
information just to know also.
Right.
Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you, Pam. Any other discussion?
No, sir.
All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by
Did we take
saying
the
aye.
motion?
Aye.
We didn't take the motion.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
think
we
so.
did, didn't we?
No, there was no
No.
motion.
Madam Clerk,
No.
don't get me.
But I'm
Telling you,
I'll
you
make
just
an
didn't
motion.
hear me. You
I'm
make
your
the
left
motion.
ear. I'm your left ear.
I'll make a motion to authorize the city administrator to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the OSHA on behalf of the city to enroll in water residential assistance
I
program.
told you I heard a motion.
Second.
Second? Moved and seconded. Any other discussion?
No, sir.
That's the reason I thought there was a motion, because
fault.
we don't discuss until I
It
get
was
the
my fault.
motion. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carried. Next is the appointment of an individual to the Planning Commission. We have a current vacancy. It's actually been filled all this time by a gentleman by the name of Keith Brown, who has been a member of the Planning Commission since originated. What'd I skip?
No.
No.
Mr. Mayor, you are correct. There's a discrepancy between the packets you received and the agenda you have before you. The agenda and the packet don't agree. I apologize. You are correct. Mr. Brown's appointment is the next item. You'll just have to skip to the next heading in your packet. I apologize.
Some of
for
you
that.
may or may not know Keith was a victim of a very serious automobile accident and was hospitalized and undergoing rehabilitation for a while. But he returned to the Planning Commission with a lot of gusto and a expressed desire to, his term in this case has already begun. And although it technically had expired, our language has always allowed for the continuation of the current incumbent in that until such time as he's replaced. And so I am recommending this evening that we officially appoint him to the remainder of the term, which runs till
February 1st, 2018.
February 1st, 2018. So just about a year and a half more to go, right, of that term. So that's my recommendation to the council, and I would so offer that for your consideration.
I'll make the motion to appoint Keith Brown to, were you ready for the motion? I'm sorry.
That's right, yes.
Okay. To appoint Keith Brown to the Planning Commission for a term which ends February 1st, 2018.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Will the clerk prepare a letter for me to confirm the council's action? Next is we have the appointment of representatives to various boards.
Mr. Mayor, the city administrator currently sits on a number of boards that represents the city's interests. That is the Southeast Oakland Resource Recovery Authority, SACRA, Southeast Oakland County Water Authority, SACWA, and Southeast Regional Energy Office, which is SEMRIO.
SEMRIO. Oh, I broke the
I know. I could keep
rhythm
going.
there.
So we should have like a SACRIO. But my recommendation is Ken Martin serve as the primary to the SACRA board. He's been our alternate thus far. Same is true for the SACWA board. And then the alternate would be Mr. Sean Kammer for the SACRA board. And Aaron Carlton, who, as Pam alluded to earlier, handles our utility billing. We feel he's an appropriate individual for the SACWA board. The Southeast Regional
That would
Energy...
be as the alternate member, yes.
The Southeast Regional Energy Authority, SEMRIO, would put Pam and Sean to fill in those positions. So those are the three that need immediate appointments. There'll be a couple of appointments that need to be made when a permanent city administrator is found, but these are the bodies that will be acting in during the interim period.
So those individuals will represent us in the interim.
Right.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
It's moved.
Second.
Seconded. Discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. A number of departmental reports, I think that's next, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Were included in your packet, Lathrup Village Police Department,
Yep.
Code Enforcement, Public Services, Planning Commission minutes, and
That's it.
a farewell speech from our city administrator. So, At this time, I'd entertain a motion to accept the various reports, departmental reports. And then if anybody has questions or comments, we can field those. Is there a maker of a motion to accept the reports?
So moved.
I make it, yeah.
It's been moved. Did you second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the departmental reports. Again, I said the Lathrup Village Police Department, Code Enforcement, Public Services, and the Planning Commission minutes were included under those. If anybody has any questions after looking at the individual reports, this would be your opportunity to ask them or to comment if you saw something of interest you want to comment on.
Well, I have a question for the chief. I don't know if the chief wants to take the mic.
He loves to.
No, just real quick. I saw something in here that actually I experienced also. There was a report of people going door to door and the selling of the cleaning supplies.
Yes.
That happened to us also, and it was very weird and aggressive. My husband actually went to the door, but I was inside, and he literally had to chase them away.
Well, anytime you have anything like that,
That was my next point.
just give us a call. Anybody going door to door selling any items, not religious or political items, but
Those you
door-to-door.
can't chase away.
Yeah, we can't chase those away. But anybody selling any items, call us.
Okay. Because, I actually told my husband to call, and he, no, didn't need to. But I talked with the other neighbor who did call it, and who called, and
Right.
she said, we called, and I said, great, then,
Yeah, then
you've already been notified.
We notified, and if need be, we'll issue tickets.
And in that situation, did you ever find them?
We did, and
Were they confused about what they could do?
no, they not necessarily confused, but they weren't aware
Okay.
of what they could do. So just let us know. Anytime you have any kind of suspicious activity, dial 911, and we'll check it out.
Okay.
But anybody going door to door, selling anything, let us know. They have to get the proper permits to be able to do that.
Okay. All right, but that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to encourage people to do that if they
I
run into
definitely encourage
situations.
people. Anytime you have anybody going door to door, call 911. Let us check them out. Make sure they're okay. They have proper permits.
Okay. In this situation, I don't know if, everybody saw that, but these folks were actually aggressively trying to get into people's homes.
Wow.
And
Well, you never know again, with individuals, you never know.
right. I don't know if it was an aggressive sales technique or there was just something weird going on, but they were very aggressive about trying to get in the house.
Call chief.
Call chief.
Any
Can-
solicitor that comes to your home ought to be able to produce an ID card with a permit number that was issued by the city clerk's office. If they are unable to produce that, they do not have permission or a permit from the city to do door-to-door solicitation.
The main exception to that is that we've run into is mainly with certain religious groups that do routinely distribute literature door to door, and they are entitled under freedom of speech to do that. And some of them are more aggressive than others, but nonetheless, they do not normally do the kind of behavior that I saw described in this report. Yes.
So can the chief do anything about those pink bags in our driveway?
No. If
yet.
those of you who read the Free Press, was it
Yeah,
Free
it was
Press?
on the news too.
And in the news, there was quite an article on this, and one of our cities around here has actually sued or has cited the newspapers for violations of their littering ordinance, I believe it is. And in the turn have been, because the papers want to have a peaceful relationship, have been sued back by those
Yeah.
two newspapers. So
It's playing out in the courts now.
it's playing out in the courts. It'll be interesting to see where it goes, but it is irritating because they come by and they throw them in the end of your driveway on what is really public right-of-way, in that area, and they just throw it down there. The old homeowner hasn't asked for it, but they're somehow going to get the ticket if they're littering. Well, and I won't blame them for being upset because, after all, they didn't ask for that thing to be thrown on the end of the driveway. In my case, they've actually used a newspaper box I have for the free press. And they actually put mine instead of throwing it on the driveway, so I'm at least appreciative of that much. But
Mine is stuffed full right now.
pardon?
Mine is stuffed full of the free press box.
Yeah.
Also, I was going to say, I know we had a conversation before about it, is that the residents are supposed to call the police also if somebody's picking through their garbage?
Right. That's right.
It,
There are people come along and
You've got that
trash days and they glean metal and other things out of there that the city actually has income from, that when it goes through the recycling process or whatever. And so they are stealing from the city at that point, just so underscore why that ordinance exists.
It belongs to the city.
If the city gets revenue.
Any other questions or comments on the departmental reports? Excuse me.
no, sir.
Nope.
All right, we'll move on. City administrator.
Need a vote.
Oh, we need a vote, yes. All those in favor of accepting these reports, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you for the reminder. Motion carries. City administrator, you,
I have an item of professional and personal note. We have a contractor coming in to do some crack sealing on our roads as part of our efforts to preserve the local road network. So if you see a slow-moving vehicle, please just give them plenty of room. There are going to be workers actually following behind these vehicles, making sure that there are no areas where water can get into our roads, freeze, and destroy and do damage to them. So
the group now, is that the spray?
it's not spray patch, but it's a very, very similar process to if you're observing it. It's
Okay.
actually it's a rubberized.
It's not the cold, what do you call it?
No, it's not cold patch. No,
Okay.
sir. Mm-mm. So this is like a
You're pretty
rubbery-
much done with the cold patching, I think.
We still
Where
have a
it
lot
can
of
be
holes to
done.
fill.
Yeah.
Our guys are still out there, so if you see potholes, please let us know.
You may have also noticed that out on the county roads, is that there's been a lot of county trucks going up and down those roads with the directional arrow signs on the back of them telling you that road crews are filling potholes. So we don't want to discourage them from doing that. Those of you who have hit those bumps, you want them filled if you can. Go ahead, man.
And on a personal note, as it was referenced earlier, this will be my last city council meeting with the city of Lathrup Village. I am just floored and humbled by the opportunity to serve this community. This has been a fantastic 8 years. It's gone by like the blink of an eye. But everything I've been able to do for this city, whether it was checking downspouts to being entrusted to lead the community as your city administrator, I have been grateful for every single moment of it. Thank you to this council, the previous council that appointed me, to the members of this community. Thank you. I've been congratulated when I got married. I was congratulated when I had kids. I mean, I've done so much in my time here personally. And I've had an entire family here, and I'm grateful. Like you
Well,
would
Matt-
not believe, I'm grateful.
Well, Matt, we are very appreciative of the dedicated service you've given us for 8 years. I was here when you arrived here as an intern,
Yeah.
and you were just a bulldozer. You absolutely were not set still. You kept moving it forward and taking on one project after another, and as a consequence, moved up in jobs with the city administration. But we're sorry to lose you, especially to that other city. They'll remain unnamed. But in all sincerity, we appreciate all of your service. We thank you for being the kind of person you are, and that's important, believe me. Your personal integrity and all that has always been an utmost consideration. And And we appreciate you sharing those twins with us. They've been fun to watch grow up thus far. So please keep sharing those development pictures. You're not very far away.
No,
So
no, I'm not.
we hope we get to see them and you in person from time to time. So thank
Absolutely.
you as well.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Matt.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Matt.
The city, we covered the city attorney. City attorney, do you have any
We
updates?
kind of touched on it with the newspaper. We're just going to bring
Yes.
that to the attention. So good thing we didn't act on that a couple meetings ago, right?
Right.
Oh, could have been fun. Is there
We
any
could have all been
unfit?
personally sued, like the.
Yeah, that's right.
like
Is there
they're
any
doing.
unfinished or new business to come
You need
before
this.
from council members this evening?
No, sir.
Okay. I have no correspondence to share this evening. There's no additional business to come before this meeting. I would entertain a motion for.
I wanted to thank you all for coming to my first coffee hour with
I was with you in spirit.
the
from San Antonio.
Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, and we
Good.
will having the next one June 16th. It's going to be on a Thursday in June because of my travel schedule, and there's a lot of things. But it was really exciting for me to get to know more
We will-
of Lathrup Village.
We'll keep
And we'll do it
advertising
again
those
as we
because
have them.
we're going to do them regularly, but you may have different council members in attendance at some of them because not everybody is going to be able to make each and
that's
every
fine.
one of them. So
It was just very nice.
this time I went a long ways to get away from hers.
You did, I
all
tell
the way
you.
to San Antonio.
I tell you.
Couldn't harass me. So anyway,
You know what? We should tell everybody too that I found out today that we can get into the DIA with no charge. I didn't know it. They say everybody knows. I didn't know that Lathrup Village residents
Yes.
can get into
it's
the.
part of
Oakland County.
the Oakland County participation
I
in
did
the
not know that.
millage
Yes.
in support of the DIA.
We do pay, but it's
You don't-
free at the
It's
door.
not, yeah, okay.
They do charge on occasion for very special exhibits in which there is an additional charge for those particular exhibits, but that's very little of their overall operation that ever gets treated that way. So we have no additional business. Did somebody make that motion for adjournment?
No, sir.
Second,
Need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the meeting is adjourned. We thank all of you for being here this evening and for your